What's up, everybody? This is Lee coming to you once again from the beautiful Guitar Wishes facility here in downtown Lincoln. We're really excited today. A couple of us are going to head out and we're going down to the Neighborhood Theater. We've been invited to the Neighborhood Theater in Charlotte, North Carolina to interview Tim Reynolds and TR3, his power trio. We're going to go check it out and hopefully get some live shots, have a sit-down interview with Tim and the guys, and go over the past, present, and future of TR3. We're super excited. Let's go. How are you guys today?
Good, how you doing, man?
All right, this is Tim Reynolds. How are you, Tim?
Good, man.
All right, MICK, VAUGHN.
Hey, man.
And Dan MARTIER.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Good to see you.
We just went through sound check, and everything sounds stellar. Sounds incredible. Tell me how the tour's going so far.
It's going pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
How many dates you got left?
I don't know.
I think there's 8 left. We got 4 this week and 4 next week.
Really? You know, I was looking at the schedule, and you guys are on the road a lot. I mean, there's a lot of shows in a row. Do you do that intentionally, or do you just not like to take days off? Or
I mean, we like to take some days off, and it's really kind of up to the agency and the relationships we've built over the years with the different venues.
Really?
I mean, it's hard to build a tour,
Sure.
and so it's a lot of moving parts. We get some say, but it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
A lot of people have to figure out what they're doing on the other end. So
absolutely. Well, TR3 formed in the mid-'80s.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about some of the relationships you have with some of the other guys. There was a revolving door of musicians there for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Charlottesville, it started with 3 guys out of a band called Cosmology. And then over the years, they kind of, depending on who was available or not, different players played. And that was when it was Charlottesville based. And then I moved to New Mexico, and I didn't do that there anymore. I kind of wound up, I had Houston and Johnny. I had a different band after TR3 that was kind of very similar, but power trio. But anyway, and then after I lived in New Mexico for like 10 years, I wound up doing a lot more solo gigs. And then I kind of didn't really do a band for a while. And when I moved back to the Outer Banks, I met these guys. And I was all back into it, like, big time. So
Well,
this is the TR3 that is like...
Well, I was going to ask you what happened. What happened in the late 2000s that... what happened to make you say, these are the guys? These are the guys I want to reform TR3 with.
Well, I moved to the Outer Banks, and then I met them there. And then we started playing gigs, and it was... We locked in from the beginning, and then it just gets better and better.
Now, were you guys already in bands? Were you looking to form a band? How did that come about?
Mick and I have been playing together at that point, probably
since the mid-'90s we've been playing
together.
All kinds of different projects.
Right.
Many different. We have a steady jazz gig, and we were doing. I can't even give you the number of bands we played it together.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Blues, rock, reggae, wedding bands,
metal,
jazz. Yeah.
Jazz. So we've done. We were the rhythm section for a lot of people, and so when Tim moved into the Outer Banks, it was sort of like an automatic connection.
Yeah.
That at the time, Diane, ex-wife, said, "Hey, Tim might want to put the trio back together again." So I had Tim sit in with a band I was in at the time, and then Mick and I went over and got together, and yeah, it was automatic.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at styles, and how did your percussive style come about? A lot of guys, they'll learn greats and they're a chord monster and they're really great with chords. Some guys are soloists, but I really sense a percussive style in how you play. Where'd that come from?
I guess because I'm a closet drummer, although I don't stay in the closet when I play drums. But
He's come out of the closet though,
yeah.
and taught me parts before.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm really,
Oh yeah.
I'm a drum geek. Like I geek out almost as much, if not more, sometimes on drummers and guitar players. So it informs everything I do. I'm just like,
So when you're home listening to music, you're air drumming it?
as much as guitar for sure. Yeah, probably more.
Oh, really?
Because I'm always hearing that's the way it is.
And listening to the new album, I was really taken by your bass playing also.
Thank you.
Some of the best bass playing I've heard. The attack that you have
Thanks.
is second to none. What started you in bass and going down that road?
Well, I came up in the '80s, so there was a lot of just great pop music and metal coming up. I've always been kind of like a heavy-handed player, but I like all kinds of styles. I really got to credit Rob Evans, the producer, sort of the mastermind behind it all, just for getting all the great sounds that we had, you know.
Right.
Some of it was mic'd, amped, some went direct. You know, we did a bit of production on the other end, like just adding some distortion or maybe a little bit of color, you know, some reverb or whatever to it. So we took it a little bit further than previous projects, you know. As far, you know, bass kind of, you get it locked in and then it's there. But we spent a little bit more time to it, and
well, it's definitely
a little bit more.
It's definitely apparent
Yeah.
on the album.
Yeah.
There's so much great bass stuff, as well as drums. But as far back to bass, who are your influences as far as bass goes?
I was a huge, you know, Jocko disciple, like we all were. Tony Levin, I would say, even more so now, having, you know, fulfilled the dream of seeing him play finally with King Crimson a couple of years ago. Huge influence on my playing. You know, just the soundscapes, you know, his sonic integrity, you know, everything he does with the instrument just blows me away. So I'm kind of trying to get into that, you know.
Right. And back to drums, who are your influences?
Well, there's so many great ones. I mean, Steve Gadd to Bill Bruford to Jack DeJohnette to currently Vinny Colaiuta, who blows me away every time I see him play. And there are just countless drummers out there now that I geek out on the internet. I'm just, you know, now we can learn so much from other people via the internet, so it's kind of cool.
Sure.
So yeah, and it's not really a specific style of drumming. It's, you know, those drummers that I mentioned played all, you know, avenues of music.
Absolutely. And I was, again, back to you two guys. You were playing at the Outer Banks when Tim moved there. Had you just been playing forever together? Is that why you've created such a tight pocket? Because there is such a tight pocket when you guys play. It's unbelievable.
We had some crazy gigs.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely got something to do with it.
Yeah,
you know?
There were some challenging gigs because, you know, where we are, there's so many. It's a resort area, so seasonal gigs come up, and you just jump on it. If you're in town, you're going to grab a gig.
Sure.
And it's hard to say no sometimes. So, yeah, we found ourselves in some fun positions and some fun times, and grew through many gigs.
Right.
And so many great other musicians on the Outer Banks that we could lend our skills to. That it was a real opportunity, and I mean, just a great opportunity.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. And so while they are at the Outer Banks playing, and you've got a relationship with Dave Matthews, the lead guitar player for Dave Matthews, and so tell me how that relationship came about. I know he was a bartender, and you were playing, and
Right. Well, we just started kind of goofing around playing music, and it was apparent to me that he was super musical, and this is before that I know of had any idea to start a band. And once he started his band, when they started recording, I kind of lent my whatever you want to call it, guitar playing to their first, most of their records.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started playing with them full time about 10 or 11 years ago, 2008.
But you were originally in a band with Carter and Leroy, right?
A lot of bands. It's kind of like the way they describe the Outer Banks. Right. Charlottesville was like that too in the 80s. I played lots of jazz gigs with Leroy and Carter, and I even played one with Stefan when he was like 16. Played upright bass. So I played with those guys in a lot of revolving gigs. Right. Carter probably played half a dozen TR3 gigs, and we just played a lot of them, just make up a gig. We'd write ourselves on the book at Miller's and just play. You know, jazz was kind of the common language, and so that's kind of how that developed.
Oh yeah, and a tragic loss with Leroy.
Yeah,
very tragic. And now with that, I'm sure that brings the band closer together.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And you know, recording after that. How does recording change after something like that?
It's hard to put a word on it, really. You just kind of try to go deeper, I guess. And you do that anyway, but that just kind of gives it a little more life poignancy.
Oh, I'm sure it does. And well, you've been around and played music for quite a while. How have you seen the business itself change? Now, of course, with the internet.
Luckily, you can still go on the road and play music to people, and that's the most valuable thing to me. Mm-hmm. Everything else is kind of like obviously records and recordings and listening to music. It's how people relate to music. But really, the bottom line is playing music.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to love being able to go into a record store and buy a CD or buy a vinyl or whatever you're going to get. And I think that's a real disservice to the music industry this day, today. So that's a little soapbox that I have.
Well, technology's changed and the way we consume music has changed. So the music has changed. And we're really lucky that we can, like Tim was just saying, we still go out on the road. We play in front of live people. We're playing, human instruments that, and it's an amazing experience.
Is it a difference in the recording process, knowing, well, this is going to be streamed versus this is going on a piece of vinyl or a CD?
I wouldn't say for us. I mean, I'm not going to speak for these guys, but it doesn't really affect me that way. Like, I don't think about recording. I mean, I've been recording since the late 80s, and I still approach it the same way, even though the technology is different, because the music, I'm still playing my instrument. Even though it's being captured differently and marketed differently, perhaps, but I'm still doing the same. I'm still kind of on that same path personally.
Right. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's just in the moment playing music. Where no matter what, and different rooms will dictate how I play, or a studio will dictate how I play, because you play, the room becomes the instrument, and it's so it's different every time in a way. But it's regardless of recording or live, it's just you still want to fulfill yourself and others around you, and the boys in the band want to connect, with my job, so the rhythm and the structure. So yeah.
And you feel the same way, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to ask, where are you recording? Where are they recording the new album?
In Charlottesville at the Haunted Hollow Studios.
That's Dave's studio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The new album, really eclectic. It goes from one end to the other. And I was talking to you earlier about the song Radar Contact. Is probably one of my favorite songs on the CD. Just because it's so tight. The pocket is incredible. Your bass playing is stellar on that. Of course, your guitar playing as well. But what really jumped out at me was the bass playing on this particular song, because it is the attack is so strong. And it just drives you the entire way. Is that what you're thinking as you're doing this song?
We revisited that song during the recording process, and we pumped up the tempo a little bit. We kind of gave it a little bit more life, and then as far as all the punch you're talking about, again, back to Rob Evans. I mean, he's just a wizard in the studio.
He's one of the best.
It's
ever.
I mean, to set it up and just let us do our thing, and then to hear it back, it's
Rob, are you listening to this?
it's really inspiring.
Another great song, A Bone to Pick.
Oh yeah.
I hear so many different influences in there. When it first starts, I hear Zeppelin, and then I hear Satriani-esque leads, and there's so many different things going on in that particular song. I mean, is this a collaboration, the writing process, or are you bringing in everything? What's going on in the writing process of these?
Well, I brought in the parts of the song, but once we start playing it, it starts to take a life of its own. And having played with Dan and Mick for so long, I can kind of hear what it's going to sound like, because they are like a part of me, and I'm a part of them. We have a
I'm in you, you're in me.
just like
Is that Peter Frampton?
Yeah,
Yes.
Peter Frampton.
Yes.
Peter Frampton.
How about On This Mountain, Born in Clouds?
Oh,
that's my favorite TR3 song.
Is it?
of all time.
that's going to win
Yes.
the Oscar somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere it will. This is
In my living room.
lock it in. Lock it in. It's a great song.
Yeah, it really is. Just airy,
Oh,
ethereal. It's very, very relaxed.
It tells a story.
Yeah, it really does.
it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And even taking that song, kind of jazz. So rock, jazz, fusion, funk. It's really, really covered in this new album.
Oh, thank you.
The Sea versus the Mountain. If you haven't heard it, please go check it out. Sea versus the Mountain, TR3. What are your favorite songs on the new album?
On the record?
Yes.
I like Galloping Sun Dogs. It's just I sometimes I'll talk about it in the gig, because it's just such a happy, powerful, bright kind of surf clouds, sunshine, beauty. I mean, and it rolls along. It's just I like the whole record though. I can't really pick. Bone to Pick is a great song, like you said. Left Hand of Darkness is pretty epic. I mean, it's all, the whole record to me is one piece.
Sure.
In a way, because we've been performing the whole record this last tour and a half. Like, we just do the whole record.
Right.
And we'll tag a few songs on either side of that, but it's been such a, it's like the old days when you just listen to a whole album at once. And now playing a whole album at once that's the same experience.
Right.
It is. It's nice to revisit that feeling of like sitting around listening to a record, you know, like
Absolutely.
we used to do.
Yeah. What challenges you? You know, you're so proficient at your instruments. What challenges you as a drummer, as a bass player, as a guitar player? What challenges you to say, you know what, I need to do this better? Or as I'm writing something, I need to try to do this better?
Oh my God. Everything.
Yeah, every game.
Everything coming down the way. I mean, it's, for me, it's like, you know, listening to these young, great players that are coming up, you know, and, you know, realizing it's like, oh, wow, okay, you know, you got to keep up with these guys, you know, or, you know, whoever's doing it. It's like, that kind of keeps me on my toes. You know,
Sure.
Try to just maintain.
Do you ever do anything during a gig that's, you know what, I'm really going to challenge myself? I read a story one time of a guitar player who, a really proficient guitar player who was walking on stage one night and decided to put his pick down. He was going to play the entire show with no pick. And that challenged him and made him really, you know, keep on his toes that night. Do you ever do anything just walking out, you know what, I'm going to do this tonight?
I think I personally reach all the time and I probably make mistakes, but that's my only chance to try because you know, it's very rare that we rehearse.
Right.
So we want, you know, the music evolves for me, and so it's always changing, and so I will make mistakes. It may not be noticeable, but it's something that I'll try new stuff all the time, just out of not being bored.
Sure.
You know, and just out of playing more and creating more, just being creative in the song, because they always do morph into more as every song we've done sort of has morphed into a different feel and a different thing, and it continues to.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you? Do you ever challenge yourself? What do you do?
Always, I think whenever we step on stage, there's always a spontaneous challenge. And since we're such a tight unit, whenever one person does something a little bit different, it kind of sends a ripple through the force, and we all react. And that's what's so fun.
Yeah.
That's the best. Like, just the littlest thing in a microsecond can seem like the biggest thing because your mind is on a different time scale when you're playing music. It's on this time scale of infinity and a microsecond at the same time, paradoxically. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. But
it does. Because you don't have time to think a lot.
No.
I'm sure. You know, it's all, either it becomes muscle memory.
Yeah.
And that's when you decide to kind of break your muscle memory, try to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't really have time to think, I would guess.
That's true.
So what's next after this? Tell me what's going on after.
I'm going to rest.
Oh, you're going to take a rest?
Yes.
You guys going home for Christmas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And home is?
Outer Banks of North Carolina.
Yeah. And you're in Seattle?
Yeah.
And Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Right. So you're going your separate ways for Christmas and coming back and jumping back on it hard and heavy, I guess.
At some point, yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I guess it would be supporting as a drummer, as the drummer legacy. I guess it would be just making everybody feel good in the band, rhythmically, spiritually, and myself feel good. So I guess it would be Dr. Feel Good.
There you go.
I don't know about that. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So how about you guys? Legacy. What do you want?
Oh, I've never really thought about a legacy. I mean, maybe to have been a custodian of the music, you know, to not overplay, to not do like you know, to find what fits. I guess.
Do you find that a challenge?
I do, because I play too much,
yes.
And so you know the thing. It's funny that you know the challenge for me now is to like calm down. You know,
yeah.
Don't do it, Mick.
Oh, I won't. But I might challenge myself to think about it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No, it's not.
Do you see yourself trying to overplay at times and having to pull
I'm
back?
always trying to stop it. Yeah, I'm always trying to hold it back because it's more fun to take a space and let the music breathe instead of fill up the space. And so there's always I'm always trying to step back from going too much.
That's something I really noticed in the CD. The Sea versus the Mountain. You check it out. I don't really hear overplaying. I hear what is refreshingly what's right for the song. That's not done a lot these
Did our
days.
jobs.
You know, I feel like that if you're playing what's right for the song, then you can hit an A chord that will crack somebody's ribs, and that sounds better than a bumblebee.
Oh yeah.
So it's very, very well done.
Thanks.
So, and again, we're from Guitar Wishes, and thank you so much for sitting with us for today.
pleasure, man.
Thanks for coming out.
And we wanted to give you a gift, and it's called a Big Joe. This is a power supply. It's you can run 12 pedals up to 8 hours
Whoa.
on
wow.
this thing. No 60 cycle hum in there, so it replaces like 7,800 9-volt batteries.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I can't stand buying 9 volts, but and that's on its way. We're going to get that to you in just a second. But we're looking forward to the show tonight, and I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank
you so
Yeah,
much.
Great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You guys were great, and can't wait to see what's in the future.
All right, man.
All right. Now, where
Good job.
Tim Reynolds, or is it TimReynolds.com or TR3?
What is it?
TimReynolds.com.
TimReynolds.com. Check it out, TimReynolds.com for future dates. And for everybody here, I'm Lee. We're out.
Cruising for a bruising.